Hi, it's time for a make and take. This is our monochromatic one color white card. There you go. It's super cute. It's only using white. So in your packet, you're going to have all the pieces that you are going to need to make this card. So let's go ahead and make it. So what you're going to find is a bunch of white pieces. You're going to find a couple little gems, one strip, and then these squares, all in different sizes, one background sheet, in your card base along with your envelope. All right, so what we're going to do, so that it has time to dry, we're actually going to take this smallest one, this very smallest one, and we are going to stamp on it. So this is the stamp that we're going to be using. It's Warm My Heart. It is from the mini fall catalog of 24. And we're going to use this cute girl with a wreath. It is one of the red rubber stamps, um, which I didn't think I was going to like, but I do. So I've already got her all done. I keep the back of the stamps in here. That way then I know what they are. I have not used these. I've used these. So I'm keeping this in here so that I have it when I need it. Okay. I am going to grab a block. I believe that this one will work. I'm going to put her on here a little bit this way. So I just adhered her to my block. I'm going to use Stays On ink. So the Stays On Jet Black ink. Because we're going to color her with our Stampin' Up! Blends. So I'm going to ink. Make sure she looks pretty good. She does. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp her kind of right in the middle. Walk my fingers across, make sure I got everything. And there she is. All right, I have my glass mat here. So I like my glass mat. Because I can just wipe it up. I'm going to take my stamp chamois. I can use my stamp chamois, or I could use my stamp scrubber. This is Stays On ink, so there is a regular Stays On cleaner. So when you are doing the make and take, that will be in your book or in the kit. So I'm going to go ahead, leave that to dry. So I'm going to put this cute little girl up here to dry. I'm also going to, as long as I have the black ink out, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to stamp the words right away. Sorry, I got this little frog in my throat. So the words are Deck the Halls with Reese O'Holly. So let's go ahead and adhere it to my block. Go ahead, ink it up. And again, I love that I have my glass mat. Go ahead, stamp it, clean it off. If you're doing this make and take at the retreat, leave the stamp on the block for the next person. All right, so those will be on the blocks. All right, so we're going to let these kind of dry and sink in. We're done with our ink now. So we're going to put our Stays On Jet Black away. What we're going to do next is we are going to run this bigger sheet, the biggest one that we have. We're going to run that through the die cut machine. And we're going to emboss it. So I'm going to do that off camera and I'll be right back. All right, so I just ran this through my emboss machine. So look at that. Hopefully you can see that there. So this is a little bit different than the sample one. The sample one, I didn't have that and I just used like a big and it's hard to see, there we go, uh, a tree. But I thought this is a much better one with the snowflakes. So this was the snowflake embossing. You're gonna, on my website, um, my Stampin' Up! Website, if you go into some of my projects, you're going to be able to see everything that I used and how to purchase it. I'm actually going to use the tear tape on these. You could use the white glue, um, the green glue, um, this glue, the mono liquid glue. I have a tendency not to use that, um, unless I'm using smaller things. That if you are allergic to um, latex, that has latex in it. So just so that you guys are aware, I don't want anybody breaking out, um, because they are using green glue. Um, yep, and this looks like it's putting a lot of tear tape on here. It's okay, because I want it to stay down, and it is on that embossed. So we're gonna just put that on there. All right, peel this off, I think. There we go. Tear tip, you can use cards, you can use that scrapbook pages. So it works well. So I'm going to use this on the more snowy part. There we go, more snowy part to the top of the card. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and start attaching all my different layers. So this one is going to go directly onto the embossed. So I put just a little bit more on this one because again, it's only hitting those high spots. All right, so let's go ahead here, take this off and attach it. And attach it kind of to the center. Again, this is why I like glass mat or something with a um, texture on it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these two together. Not going to do anything popping or 3D dimensionals or anything to it. Just going to put it on. And I didn't turn it over to tape it. How many times don't we do that? Okay, let's go ahead. Put this on here. We're going to get it centered. And then I am going to use my dimensionals. These are the large dimensionals. You could use the small ones, just use more. But I'm going to go ahead and do these. Pull these off. We're very close to getting this card done. We have a little coloring. It's pretty easy. You could even put stuff in the inside. You can decorate the envelope. So now I'm just going to add hair. So now I've got my snowflakes and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 layers on. Okay, now we're just going to color. I'm going to use my blends and I'm going to color. So I'm not going to bore you with coloring, so I'll be back when she's colored. All right, I've got her mostly colored. I wanted you guys to see what I was going to do with the wreath. So I'm actually going to color this in with the Real Red. These are alcohol blend markers. So this is actually the dark Real Red. There is a lighter Real Red as well. But with alcohol markers, which I think a lot of you probably already have had seen, the Copics, the Tri-Blends, all of those fun things. The more you go over it, the darker it gets. So on this wreath, the ribbon I did quite a few times over just where I wanted it, so it gets a little shading. I have just a pink marker here. I'm just going to give her a little dot on her cheeks. And then I'm going to go over, it was the medium light marker that I used on her face. And this will just kind of blend it in. Give her some color and cheer. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to color in the wreath. Now I'm going to use 3 different colors. And I'm using the brush end. They come in a brush or a bullet end. So I'm just going to color kind of over the outside with the brush end. This one is light old olive. I'm finding that that is like one of my favorite colors to use. Okay, I'm actually going to go over the whole thing. Now I'm using the brush end. I found that the brush end has a tendency to bleed a little bit more than the bullet end. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the bullet end of, this is the dark old olive. So I'm going to go on the inside, kind of where it would be a little more shaded, and probably around the outside a little bit here. You say, Amy, that looks terrible. Well, we're not quite finished with it yet. I'm going to come back with that light old olive and blend it on the brush side. All right, so I've got that done. Yay! So the markers that I used, so you saw that was the dark real red. That was the bow. Her jeans are dark misty moonlight. Her shirt is light balmy blue. Skin tone is light or medium light. Hair was, I'm not sure what this one was. SU 100. And then I didn't, which ones? I only used the, I didn't use Mossy Meadow on this one. Light olive, old olive, and dark old olive. Okay. So those are the blends. Oh, and the pink, which was light flirty flamingo. So those will be in the box if you're doing this at the retreat. Okay. Then I also have a stamp and write. This is gray granite. This is what I did for around the outside. I used a ruler on that one. This time I'm not going to. I am going to kind of freehand it. And remember, you pull with your arm, with your elbow up in your shoulder. So I'm just going to freehand it. So you get more of a straighter line. I'm going to stop at her sock. And then I'm going to keep going. And then I'm going to go down this way. So I'm pulling my whole arm, not just my hand. You get a much straighter line. Okay, so there she is. She is ready to go. I told you this doesn't take very long. So now what I'm going to do, I've got my dots again, my dimensionals. Again, these are the large. So I'm going to go ahead. Now I'm going to add her to the mix. We're just about done, guys. Really quick. Cute. Who would have thought all white, huh? So I'm going to add her to the card. There we go. Now I've got the deck the halls. So here's where it gets interesting. So we've got 2 layers of dots. So I'm going to have to give her this 2 layers of dimensionals. So to make up for that. So I had to take the backing off of one, and now I'm going to put the second dimensional layer on. And I'm going to add a little bit of my tear tape to the middle. Because this is going to go right over top of her. So if you made a little air like that one, that's where I'm going to cover it up. Okay, so those are out of our way. And set it here so we can kind of decide where we would like this to go. And I can add it there. So now it's popped up here twice where you can see those levels are also popped. Got a couple little dimensionals here. So I'm going to use my little pick multi-tool and I'm going to add one there and one here. And then I did, so this is the pearlized enamel effects. And I'm going to add just a teeny tiny little bit of a couple of hollies, like berries. Just teeny tiny dots. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. And now that card is done. That is it. So we have our finished card. Didn't take very long. You'll want to make sure that you set this card now off to the side to dry. Because this is going to, these little dimensionals, our little enameled effects are going to take probably about 10 to 15 minutes to dry. So you don't want to put this somewhere safe so you don't put anything on top of it. And we have our card. Very cute. Thanks, guys.